Hello viewers, this is Peter Ikaja going to take you through one of the topics in O-level mathematics, and that is business mathematics. In business math, we shall specifically go and look at what we call hire purchase. Now, when we talk about hire purchase, I would like to bring out a very clear practical situation. Now let's take an assumption that you have gone to the market and you want to buy, for example, a television. Now this television may have different conditions of sale. I mean, the seller may decide to sell it in two ways. He may think of selling it using hire purchase, or he may think of selling it using cash. In other words, you buy it either by cash or you buy it on hire purchase terms. Now, when we talk about hire purchase in this case, it is just a simple situation whereby we look at a situation where you don't have maybe enough money, but you also want to get the same item with a person who would actually use cash to buy it on that same day or same time. So for your case, you will be given conditions. For example, if the television costs 1 million shillings, you may be told to pay, for example, 50% of the 1 million shillings. Then they tell you you are going to be given a gross period of like 3 months. And in those 3 months, they will tell you to pay some amount, for example, 300,000 per month for the 3 months. Now, at the end of it all, the amount you're going to be paying will actually be extra, or it will be more than the amount that you would use if you had bought it using cash. So in this case, there will be always an interest that you have to add on the real amount of the asset or the television in this case. So in such a situation where you deposit some amount of money, then you pay the balance in installments, which balance involves some extra interest. It means you will be buying that asset using hire purchase. Then for the person buying it on cash basis, that person will get it on the very price that was attached to the asset by the time you're going to buy it. So it means in this case that you're going to buy this asset, but you don't have enough money. So you pay in bits, but after making the first deposit that will be determined by the contract that you're making with the seller of the asset. Now, mathematically, we can simply define hire purchase as an arrangement whereby a customer agrees to agrees to a contract to acquire an asset by paying an initial installment. For example, we can say a given percentage of the total and repays the balance of the price of the asset plus interest. This is very important over a specified period of time. So that is exactly what I was trying to narrate to you in our introduction. So let's look at simple examples about this. This is something very practical, and indeed, understanding it may not be a challenge to you. So question one, they are saying the cash price of a radio is shillings 720,000. It can be bought on hire purchase terms by making a deposit of 30% of the cash price and then paying 8 monthly installments of 85,000 shillings each. Roman 1 of the question says, find the cost of the radio on hire purchase terms. Then Roman 2 says, how much more does one pay on hire purchase rather than cash terms? And this is a comprehensive and very good question, so we can look at the solution for this. So now we're going to look at illustration by illustration. Let's begin by illustration of hire purchase terms. Now remember they told you that if you're buying the asset using hire purchase, you have to first make 30% deposit of the cash price. And remember the cash price was 720,000. So I'm going to first deal with the deposit alone. 30% of 720,000 is as good as 30 out of 100 multiplied by 720,000. And when you compute that from your calculator, you come up with shillings 216,000. Then, in addition to this, we now need to know the amount paid in 8 installments. Remember, they told us there were 8 monthly installments. So in these 8 installments, how much are we going to pay? Or how much will you pay for the asset? It will simply be 8 multiplied by the amount that you're paying for each installment. And remember, in the question, they give us 85,000 as the amount for each installment. When you do the multiplication, you will come up with shillings 680,000. Now, it means for you who is buying this item on hire purchase, you will pay this deposit of money and you will also pay this total from your 8 installments, coming to the total of 216,000 plus 680,000, and that simply gives us shillings 896,000. I think we could make an adjustment on this briefly by removing one of the zeros. So now this comes clearly to a total amount of shillings 896,000. So this is the amount that you will pay for that very item on hire purchase instead of the 720,000, which was the cash price. That means it was for only that person who was paying cash fully. But for you who wants to pay part and later pay in installments, you would end up paying more than the person that paid the cash price, which is 720,000. So what do we conclude in this case? Normally, when you're disadvantaged, you may go for higher purchase. That is especially when you don't have enough money. But finally, you end up buying the same item at a higher price than actually the cash price. So that person with the cash will actually buy cheaply than you. And so who will be better? The person who has all the money at hand. So that was our question 1. So now, but Roman 2 was asking for the extra amount someone pays if he uses hire purchase instead of cash terms. So it is simply the hire purchase amount minus the cash price. And that gives us 896,000 minus 720,000. When you compute this, it comes to shillings 176,000 extra. You can't imagine this. So it will be some good money that you will pay extra compared to the person who bought the same item using cash. So that was our question 1. Let's go to question 2. A motor company had an advertisement as shown below. It says, is a terms of saloon cars made in Japan. Cash value shillings 48.5 millions. Cash discount 8% of the cash value. You can't just look at this. They are trying to tell you that when you buy this car or this vehicle using cash, they even give you a cash discount. You can't imagine what advantages are there when you have the money. So they give you 8% of the cash, 8% discount of the cash value. So this will be of an advantage to that person who actually buys the car using cash compared to the person who buys it on hire purchase terms. Let's look at the situation for hire purchase. Now, they're saying for hire purchase, you first deposit 60% of the cash value and then pay 7 million per month for 3 months. Look at this clearly and we compare with the situation whereby you paid cash. Then the question says, calculate the saving Chris would make if he bought the vehicle by paying cash rather than by hire purchase. Then part B, Chris bought the vehicle by hire purchase and then sold it at 35 millions. After 1 year, find the percentage loss he made. This is interesting. Let's look at the solution. Now, we are going to look at part A first. They're saying calculate the saving Chris would make if he bought the vehicle by paying cash rather than by hire purchase. So we are going to look at a situation of hire purchase, then we look at a situation of paying cash. Then we compare these two situations and realize which one would be greater or higher or even more expensive than the other. Then from that point, we shall make the deduction that satisfies our part A of the question. Now we're saying on hire purchase terms, the deposit is 60% of 48 millions 500,000. That is as good as 48.5 millions. So this is just another way of writing 48.5 millions. Then 60% is as good as 60 out of 100. Then of in mathematics means multiplication. So you multiply it by 48 millions 500,000. When you do this and compute correctly, you will come up with shillings 29 millions 100,000. So this is only the deposit you have to make if you're to buy the same car or the same vehicle on hire purchase. Then let's continue and look at other details for the installments especially. So now we're looking at the amount you're going to be paying for the 3 installments. Remember they said each installment will be 7 millions and you're paying it for 3 months. So it means it's going to be 3 times the 7 millions. And that comes to shillings 21 millions. Now that we have 21 millions and we have 29 millions 100,000, it means the total amount the person who uses hire purchase will pay will be a sum of 29 millions 100,000 and 21 million shillings. And when you add all these, it comes to shillings 50 millions 100,000. That is the amount, the total amount you will pay in case you buy the same item on hire purchase terms. Let's look at the other situation where someone uses cash basis. Now the cash discount is there, remember there is that advantage. So they have to first give you 8% discount of the total amount, which was 48 millions 500,000. So that gives you 8 out of 100 multiplied by 48 millions 500,000. And when you compute this, you'll come up with shillings 3 millions 880,000. This is simply a discount that you're given. You can't imagine how advantageous it would be. Then let's look at the situation or the amount the person or Chris will pay in this case if he pays cash. Automatically, he will pay the 48 millions 500,000 minus the 3 millions 880,000, which was the discount that we got here. So it means finally he will only pay shillings 44 millions 620,000. This is the amount that Chris will pay if he uses cash. Then, now what deduction can we make? Now let's look at the situation. Remember, the amount we found out for hire purchase was something like 51 millions 100,000. And this case, the amount we have is shillings 44 millions 620,000. So it means if Chris paid cash, he would actually save a difference of this amount, which will be 50 millions. It was 50 millions, yes, 100,000. But I think we also have an extra zero here. We could adjust this. So it is supposed to be 50 millions 100,000 minus 44 millions 620,000. When you subtract that correctly, you come up with shillings 5 millions 480,000. So it means this is the amount that Chris would save if he had bought the vehicle using cash rather than by hire purchase. And this is some good amount, as you can see. So we are concluding that Chris would save 5.48 millions by buying the vehicle using cash rather than by hire purchase. So 5.48 millions is just as good as this. This is the shortest way of writing it. Then let's look at part B. They were asking for the percentage loss because remember they say Chris bought the vehicle at hire purchase terms, then later sold it after some period of time. So let's look at the cost price. Now remember he bought it at 50 millions, 100,000, and now sold it at 35 millions. When you get a difference between these two values, it came to a loss of shillings 15 millions 100,000. You can't imagine. In only 1 year. Then the question specifically asks for the percentage loss. And remember, we said in our senior 2 that percentage loss will be given by the formula loss out of the cost price times 100. So when you make your substitutions, our loss was 15 millions, 100,000. The cost price was 50 millions, 100,000. Then multiply by 100. That gives us a percentage of 30.14%. So we can conclude that Chris made a loss of 30.14%, which was significant. So if you're a good business student, you should not go for such bigger losses. Let's see, proceed to our question 3. It says Adikini bought a television set for which the cash price was shillings 599,000. She bought the television set on hire purchase scheme and had to pay an extra shillings 71,000. If she made 8 monthly equal installments, how much did she pay per month? Now, when you look at the logic behind this question, they told you when this person bought the item or the television on hire purchase, she paid an extra of 71,000 shillings. But remember, this was the cash price. So it means the higher purchase price will be the cash price plus the extra amount she paid. And that is what we shall start with. So we are saying amount paid on hire purchase will be the cash price plus the extra amount paid. Then when you make the substitutions, it will be simply 599,000 plus 71,000, and that comes to a total of shillings 670,000. Now, the question says, how much did she pay per month? Remember, she made 8 monthly equal installments. So we shall simply get this amount, which is the total amount she paid, divided by the 8. So it means it's going to be 670,000 divided by 8, which gives us shillings 83,750. So we can conclude that Adikini paid shillings 83,750 per month. So that is our question 3. Now I'm going to give only 2 trial questions for you. Just go to your past paper booklet, that is our question bank, and check through UNEB 2005 paper 1 question 16 part B. You will get a good question of hire purchase. Also check out through UNEB 1994 paper 1 question 16 part B. Try out those questions, and in case of any questions or inquiries, simply get back to me either through my contact or my email. Have the best of your day.